Do you ever feel like no matter what you do, it is just not enough? Like, let's say you have a super productive day, and still at the end of it, you feel like you've barely accomplished anything, and you're just struggling to stay afloat. Well, you're in luck because today's episode, we're going to be talking about when is enough. This is the Existential Stoic podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. What's going on, Danny?
What's up, Randy?
Now, Danny, just before the episode, we were both talking about how we are struggling with this, and it seems like an appropriate topic. So what's going on? What's
Yeah.
going on for you?
Well, like I was just saying, before we got on, I feel like, we've both been insanely busy and like I will do so much in a day, get all these things done that I need to get done, try and prepare for later in the week. And like, and I do wonder sometimes because like you're so productive and like it's hard to shut your brain off afterwards. And like you just know all these other things you need to do. And it's like turning off gets really hard sometimes, by the end of the day because you've just done so much and your brain's still like running and yeah, and there's just so much to do every day that it's like very hard sometimes to like know the limits, right? And like and how to, you know, set them.
And dude, and it's never ending because no matter how much stuff I
No.
get done, it's always like, well, there's more I could have done. There's more I could be doing. Like all this stuff that I get done, it seems never enough.
Yeah, and it's like there is a sense in which too it's like that it's like we both love learning new things, doing new things, and part of that's like the trap of that where like you're always learning something. You're always doing new stuff. So it's like there's always stuff to do, which is great, but it's also like bad because yeah, you're just insanely busy and I mean, there is no, and that's the other problem. Like there's no real end to things, you know? Like not everything has a final submission of a paper or something, or like, this, marker that tells you that you're finished, like, you finished the race or whatever. It's just like, it's ongoing.
Yeah. I was thinking about it today because I mean, I clearly know that I am doing way too many things. Like that's very evident. But
Obvious.
but it's like, I kind of got jealous of like these Olympians or whatever that just do one thing. It's like, what do they do? They do the rings or whatever, or
And they swim
snowboard.
really awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They do one thing. And it's like, if I was to just do one thing with my life, what would that be?
That's hard. Yeah. I like
Because I
lots
want
of
to do
things
too
though.
much. Yeah.
No, that's just it though. I like lots of things. There's lots of things I'm interested in. And, I think knowing that about yourself is good because you can do that. It's just hard because, at the same time, like there is a tendency to take on too much, and I think managing that gets really difficult. It does. I mean, it gets really hard to know,
Well,
whether I should say yes all the time, right, to everything or whatever.
that's it. Like I'm at this point in my life where I have to say no to stuff that I want to do, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like
Which is all, I mean,
before it was saying no to stuff that I didn't want to do. I was like doing a whole bunch of stuff I didn't want to do. I was like, oh yeah, I can say no to all of that. But now it's like everything that I'm doing is stuff that I want to do, and I still have to say no to stuff, which sucks.
yeah, I mean, on the one hand, it's awesome that we're doing stuff that we want to do. Like, I'm very happy about that. And I mean, in a certain sense, I guess it's nice that there's things you have to say no to, even though you want to do them, because that means that there's more opportunity and things than you can even handle, which is cool. But at the same time, no, I get the feeling because that sucks too. Because like when you say no to stuff that you want to do, it's like there's always that fear that like, well, what if that thing is the thing, whatever the hell that means, you know?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's I try and remind myself regularly that I'm gonna die and the world's gonna go on without me. But like my brain keeps thinking that's not possible. I need to do everything. I need to get everything done, and I need to be the absolute best and blah blah blah.
Yeah, it is funny, I think that there's a reason why, that I think there is a reason why the Stoics and the Existentialists both, you know, emphasize that acceptance of death so much because it's like it puts things in perspective, right? We don't have, I mean, it is funny. I always found that funny that we all it seems like every conscious person intuitively adopts the stance that they'll never die. Or just flat out ignores it. And I think there is something to that because like if you really do accept it, like that recognition that time's short. But that I think sometimes also can backfire because it also can put more pressure on you to do all these things when there's a lot of things you like and like overburden yourself because you know there's not infinite time also. And it's like, so it is hard, I think, to find that balance. And like, yeah. And you want to do everything well too. I think that's the other thing. Like, it's not like you don't want to give it a half-assed, kind of attempt or anything or, you know, yeah. Tough.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to do everything and do it well. It's like you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And I'm trying to discover like what are the things that are worth saying no for? Like which things do I really want to do that's worth saying no to everything else for? And it's difficult because even like some of that stuff, so like doing cybersecurity and stuff like that, I
Yeah.
love it, but it's so freaking hard, and sometimes I just want to rage quit it. And like, so
Oh, I
like,
feel that way all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, I want that to be the thing, but then there's sometimes where it's like, I just don't even want to look at another anything anymore. That's it.
Ah, dude, yeah, don't. I mean, come on. That's like, I mean, that happens because I feel that
Mhm.
way too sometimes. Like, I really do love coding and technology. It's really fun. I'm enjoying it. But there are definitely days where I don't want to look at my goddamn laptop, or any
Mhm.
code. And I
Yeah,
think that's important. You gotta take a break sometimes too, though, because it's like, since we started it, we've been doing this nonstop since we
for
started. So it's
years.
like,
Yeah.
which is good, yeah. But it's also, it's a lot. You gotta take breaks too. But yeah, I
Hmm.
I wonder too sometimes if it is like a value thing, like getting really clear on like because I feel like if I was really clear on my values, that would be easier to align with. But then I don't know if that actually is the issue. It's hard. Yeah.
It's like sometimes you're just gonna hate doing stuff because even I'm
Well,
like
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I am very okay. I should probably take these words back. I'm clear that
I'm
I'm
gonna make
clear
it a
I'm clear that I'm the clearest I've ever been on my values. We'll say it that way.
all right, that's fair.
Yeah. All right.
I'm
But
100% confident I know exactly who I am, exactly.
right. Okay. So and yet there are still times when like I'm doing what I think aligns with my values and it's still just a struggle. Like today was an absolute slog. I was looking forward to today so much because I was like, yes, had some time off, like rested a little bit. I can get back into this. And then today was the exact opposite of what I was thinking it was going to be. It was like an absolute slog. And I got a bunch of stuff done, but it just did not feel as satisfying as I thought it was going to.
Yeah. It's hard sometimes too. I think that's also just like, you know, it's also really easy to get in that work mindset, of like treating everything like obligations rather than like you want to do this. And that's always that fine line too of like, getting that balance right where like, yeah, you're doing the stuff that you need to do, but it's also like you still know why you're doing it and you still enjoy it. And I think when you burn yourself out, I feel that way when I burn myself out. Like where like all the stuff that you like just turns like to like some toxic thing because you did it too much. You way overdid it and you probably need a longer break or something.
It's probably the addictive tendencies of workaholism. Instead of like enjoying the
Okay.
work, you're just trying to get the result.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of it, right? And it's really hard to get to the point where enjoying the journey and the process, not worrying about the ends. It's so hard because we're told literally every day, all the time, that all that matters is the end result. You know? I mean, it's funny, but that's kind of why we see like, you always see in the news all these like scientific journals that are retracting articles and stuff because there's fraudulent like evidence and whatnot. And well, part of that is because like they're all focused on results. They're not focused on the process and like what they're doing. They're more interested in the recognition, the prestige, whatever, or they might have to. And I think this is part of the problem is like we're taught this and it's reinforced all the time. And it's hard to break out of that stuff when everybody around you is adopting the same perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are we left to do? When is enough? How do we solve this thing?
Let's fix it.
Uh,
Yeah,
well, you know
you
what?
know,
Okay, so I was reading the Data Chain this morning,
great book.
and I know
I love
I
that
just
actually.
started it, dude. You know what I did? That's one of my favorite new habits is every morning I read a page or two in meditations and a page or two in Data Chain. And it's just
Oh,
like,
that's a good one.
what an awesome start to
Yeah,
the day. And so
those are both
today,
great books.
yeah. So
Yeah.
today he was going into the thing about how like, do you think the world can be improved? It can't. And it's like, but then it went on to like, there's a time for everything. There's a time for things to work, and there's a time for things to not work. There's a time for things to go well, and the things for time for things to not go well. And it's like all that stuff. And it's kind of just like things are the way they are, and fighting against it is not going to make it any better.
Well, that's what I like about Taoism is like I think probably yeah, almost probably like most of us, if not 100% of us in the especially in the West, are from a Taoist perspective, we're constantly fighting the natural flow of things, right? We're trying to force our way upstream all the time, and it wears us out, and it doesn't get us to where we're going, and it makes us upset and angry and anxious and stressed and depressed. And their whole thing is going with that flow, right? Like being able to just go with the flow of nature, which means, you're going to have good days and bad days. But that's, the value we place on that is also just a valuation, which I always find funny too. Like when we get really upset or angry at things, and we say like this, that's just a valuation. We could change it. We don't have to think of it that way, right? And I think Taoists are very much about that. We're like, seeing things for what they are and not putting that extra layer of, social cultural meaning crap on top of it that changes it or, makes it something different.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, our life is going to be what our life is, and it's going to end, and then that'll be that. And people forget us.
Yeah. And I mean, as much as we love to think we have very little control over a lot of stuff. I mean, most things, and honestly, even what we think is in our control may not even be. I mean, really, we might
And
find
like
out
a most
sometime in the future.
mediocre life of all things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's interesting, but I think that is part of it. Maybe like that's it. Like we need to like just start realizing that just it's just life. Like, we can't make it more than it is or less than it is. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a struggle though. It is hard.
Yeah, and just being easy on yourself on the days that suck because they're just gonna happen. Like today, I
Yeah.
was just like, I just need to get through today. That's it. Like I just need to make it till I go to sleep, and then
You know what though? Sometimes those days are good though too because they also put in stark contrast the good days, and they
hmm
give you that nice like valuation, but also like, it might also it's just an indication too, I think sometimes that we just need breaks probably like and need to step away. Like I know that for sure. Like whenever I feel like when I know I love doing something, but it starts to feel like a slog and work, I know I need to stop and take a
hmm
break, a real break.
And you know what sucks? That thought occurred to me today when I was like struggling through it. I was like, I need to take a break. And then the subsequent thought that I did not challenge was like, I literally just took a break yesterday. I don't need another one. And I just kept on going.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
sometimes too, like sometimes you need days off. I mean, because really, I mean, honestly, too, probably like what you work 7 days a week, I assume. Because
hmm
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I do the same thing. I don't have like a real schedule. That's the other problem. I think that's the other hard thing too, is like working at home and stuff. And like there is that urge to just work every day because you're always at work. You're never like, and I mean, really, even if you go to a working space or something, you're still every day is effectively the same, right? There's no like hard break up in your week. So yeah, makes it challenging. It does.
Yeah. Maybe I'll take a break tomorrow, but probably not.
Yeah. And
Definitely
just start,
workaholic.
yeah, right? And maybe, I don't know. It is. It's a tough one. I think we're all in it though. We just gotta stop putting so much pressure on ourselves and so much meaning on things too. That thing I've
hmm
been struggling with too. Is just not placing so much meaning on things even when they're bad, and letting myself get worked up over it.
Hmm. That's a good one. Yeah, so I think we'll end there. When enough is
All right.
enough. We solve that one. On to the next.
On to the next, right?
Yeah. If you enjoyed this, check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Also, watch us on YouTube. This is the Existential Stoic Podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. I'll see you later, Danny.
Later, Randy.